Tonight on CTV News, a CSU belle that has been missing for decades returns to campus.
Plus, we take a look at the film festival today on campus, plus weather, sports, and entertainment, and much more starting now.
Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to CTV tonight. I'm Michelangelo Bustamante.
And I'm Emily Biffinger.
An ongoing story this week is Fort Collins police chief has announced his resignation on Tuesday after serving 5 years in the position. This year, the police department has come under fire after claims made against the department's racial and ethnic hiring and disciplinary practices, alongside allegations of excessive force. The department was involved in a lawsuit made internally regarding racial and ethnic discrimination, where they settled out of court for $425,000. Earlier this year, another settlement of $150,000 came after claims of excessive force by an officer. Most recently, Chief John Hutto was scrutinized for putting an officer on paid administrative leave following an incident in Old Town where a 22-year-old CSU student was arrested using an armbar takedown. Some think that the move was excessive, and others felt as though the chief was not standing by an officer who used a classic takedown technique. Facebook pages like Enough is Enough shared their dislike of the chief's decision to put the officer on leave. The department nor the chief have made official statements as to the exact reason for his departure.
This past weekend, around 30 members of the Fort Collins and CSU community hosted a protest outside of Fort Collins City Hall on Tuesday. The group focused on police brutality as a whole, hoping for discussion regarding the topic from all sides. Former candidate for mayor Quan Atlas, alongside Juan Caro and Emily Faulkner of the Conservative Interest Group of Colorado State, spearheaded the event. ASCSU's current president, Daniela Pineda-Saraca, spoke to City Hall. The Tina Chavez, mother of Nina Chavez, who had her arm broken in 3 places by a police officer in Greeley, was in attendance. To see the full interview with Quan Atlas regarding the protest, please visit our YouTube page.
If you've been through orientation here at CSU, you've likely heard the story about the missing Old Main bell. Well, that bell has returned to campus, but not without a serious story. The bell has been handed down from alumni. And with the new on-campus stadium looking to be unveiled this coming football season, the group decided that the bell should be returned. Our Humans of CSU anchor and producer Bryn Carmen sat down with an alumni involved.
It was in the best interest of the people who returned it to the university. So on that side, I didn't really feel like it was my story to tell. And I'm really glad that we took the time that it did to actually get it refurbished, because they became more comfortable in telling more and more of the history. And that's when we realized that it had been buried and all of those kind of interesting facets of the story.
So interesting. Did you hear anything onto why they buried it and more in depth of their process keeping it hidden?
Sure. They stole it in 1919. So
long ago.
I know, and it sounds like maybe there were only 4 men out of a really high tower, and this bell weighs 450 pounds. So I don't think they actually thought that they were going to be successful, and they got scared. From what I understand, they thought they were going to get kicked out of school if they were caught, so they went to one of their family farms and buried it. And that's where it stayed for 50 years, buried underground. Yeah.
Wow, I guess maybe it was a safe place.
I know.
Maybe it was a good choice when they decided, oh wow, maybe we shouldn't have taken this. It was probably a smart idea to put it in the ground, I guess. Keep it away and hidden.
Well, and for us, it kept it in fantastic shape. I can't imagine what else may have happened to it for another 50 years of ornery shenanigans for students. Yes.
Right, and you were telling a story yesterday about it being rung for 24 hours after the Aggies would win. What kind of new traditions do you think it will hold in the new stadium?
I'm so excited to work with ASCSUs. You had asked that earlier. We immediately reached out. Well, here's the interesting part of it. Eddie, who is on the Traditions Committee of ASCSU, had actually reached out to Joe Parker, the athletic director, and said, if we, created a second bell, is there a way, like a brand new one that was a replica, would you use it at football games? So Joe Parker called me and said, you probably need to call Eddie.
You probably need to let him know that we actually have it.
Yes, so that's how that conversation happened. But it was all about the same time, which was really ironic. Yeah, so I called Eddie. He was ecstatic, and they kept it a fantastic secret.
Good.
I didn't know how that would go, but Daniela, the president of ASCSU, was also fantastic.
Right. You had to let a lot of people know, and that's right. You had to trust them with the secret, because just one miss-up and everyone would have found.
Human rights film festivals occur around the world, from Geneva and Glasgow to Melbourne and Mumbai. They are galvanizing cultural events. Very few occur in the United States and none in Colorado. The ACT Human Rights Film Festival is born out of expertise in the Department of Communications at Colorado State University in the area of media and visual culture. We take a look into the life of Alvaro Anicio, the subject of a film, Walls, that airs tonight in the Laurie Student Center.
I think that, by being vocal, by just say, we don't like what the administration is telling us, this is not the way it is, and to sort of scream and, and holler at everything that we don't like, and to get the people that we don't like out of there, and to get people who really believe that this country, that the future of this country is the migrating people that we get from all over the world, that we need the Asians and we need the Africans and we need the rest of the continent from the Americans, and we need everybody in order to have a country where opportunities can be found.
The ACT Film Festival will continue until April 21st. To purchase tickets, please visit actfilmfest.colostate.edu.
A mountain biker was listed in serious condition after crashing his bike Wednesday. According to the Coloradan, rescue crews spent nearly an hour hiking in search of his location. This is an opportunity to remind you that as the summer approaches, always use trail safety. Travel with a partner, scout out trail difficulties in advance, and bring plenty of food and water. We'll keep you up to date as more details are released.
One last, somewhat opinionated note from us here at CTV. Yes, we do know it is 420, but we also wanted to acknowledge what today represents in our state for others. Today marks the 18-year anniversary of the Columbine Massacre, where 13 lives were lost in one of the most famous school shootings of all time. Let's remember those lives lost and be considerate of those who were greatly impacted that day. We believe this is front page news, smoking pot, not so much. But up next, we sit down with the winner of the Truman Award.
Don't go anywhere.
Tune in to KCSU, your student-run radio station at Colorado State University. Live 24 hours a day, every day at 90.5 FM and kcsufm.com. Live local new music now, and news, talk, and sports. KCSU, the radio voice of Colorado State, on the air since 1964.
You're watching CTV, produced by Colorado State University students, bringing you news, weather, sports, and entertainment from campus and beyond. CTV live Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. on campus and Fort Collins on Channel 11. Repeats at midnight, 8 a.m., noon, and 2 p.m.
The Rocky Mountain Collegian is your student-run news and information platform. Pick up your paper on campus or around Fort Collins Monday through Thursday with special editions Fridays. And check out collegian.com anytime for all the latest updates. News, sports, entertainment, opinion, and more. The Rocky Mountain Collegian, serving Colorado State since 1891.
College Avenue has been your student magazine for the last 10 years. College Avenue prints once a month, covering topics that are relevant to the CSU and Fort Collins community. We also print special editions like the graduation guides at the end of each semester, the best of CSU each fall, and the orientation guide each summer. Look for us on racks around campus, off campus, or online at collegian.com under the College Avenue tab.
Welcome back from the break. I'm here with Francis Comerson, who's won the $30,000 Truman Scholarship. Francis, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Michelangelo.
It's great to have you on tonight. So, Francis, for some of our viewers who may not be aware, could you tell us a little bit more about what the Truman Scholarship is and what the application process looked like?
Well, yeah, the Truman Scholarship is a large scholarship for graduate school awarded by the Truman Foundation every year to about 50 to 65 students in the United States for graduate school, a graduate school of your choice anywhere in the country or abroad. And it's awarded to students who show commitment to public service. That could be in government, education, or the nonprofit sector, ranging from public health to the environment to criminal justice. So a very, very broad scholarship.
Definitely a very broad scholarship. So what interests you about the scholarship? Why did you apply for it?
Well, I applied actually a lot for the challenge of the scholarship. It's a very involved application process. You have to really figure out who you are and who you have been and where you want to go. So you learn a lot going through the process. And also, well, there's the chance that you might win some amazing funding for your future studies.
That's definitely something like a really good reason to apply for the scholarship. So part of the requirements to getting the scholarship is to have a strong commitment to public service. What did you do to meet this requirement?
You know, my entire life I've been very committed to sustainable resource use. It's a fundamental pillar of any civilization, and particularly wildlife conservation, because having wildlife is essential for healthy ecosystems, which is imperative for clean water, air, and good land to grow crops. Since I've been young, I've always been involved in lots of citizen science work, with volunteering for nonprofits, collecting data, and I studied abroad in China during my sophomore year in college, and I really combined my passion for Chinese with my passion for the environment and learned where the human aspect falls in conserving biodiversity. And so I got involved in an ecological restoration project in rubber plantations in southern Yunnan province in China. And I was volunteered for that for a summer. And I also am doing research on the social factors involved behind illegal wildlife exploitation in this area, and how to incorporate the local communities and improve community involvement in wildlife conservation in developing areas of the world.
Wow, that's really interesting. So with this scholarship, do you plan on continuing this research, or where do you want to go with this scholarship? What do you want to do with it?
Well, yes, absolutely, continue the research. I'm actually going back this summer.
Wow.
That's my summer plans for now. But after I graduate, I'm hoping to. The Truman Scholarship allows a deferral of the funds for up to 4 years, and I'll use that time to go work on my project. Hopefully, either work in an NGO in China, or maybe do a master's thesis over there, and figure out what is the problem in this world that needs to be solved most to accomplish the goals that I want to accomplish. And then once I have that question, I'll say, where could I go for graduate school where I could answer that question with PhD research? And that's what I'll use the Truman Scholarship for.
Wow, that's awesome. So one last question for you, Francis. What would you say to other students here at CSU that are interested in applying for the scholarship? Are there any resources on campus that they can use to help them with the process?
Absolutely. Talk with Mary Swanson. She's the director for nationally competitive scholarships, and she also works for the Office of Undergraduate Research and Artistry. So Mary Swanson is your best asset for this. And as far as advice, believe in yourself, because I didn't want to apply for this scholarship at all, and I was encouraged to do so. And I realized that the public service is a very broad area, and though you don't have to be in politics or or want to work in Washington D.C. to be a public servant, as long as you're not going to work for a multi-million-dollar business, you can do this. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, once again, Francis, thank you so much for being on. And up next, be sure to grab your umbrellas, because Liz Prosse has all the details about some dreary weather this weekend.